One of the things with Restoring the Village, we're everywhere. And my guest this evening is the You Empower of Maryland, and it seems like they just match everything with Restoring the Village. So it was indeed to have them come in to share what they're doing in the community. So I have with me Harry, Melvin, and Christina. They're from You Empower of Maryland. I wanted to, before I turn it over, I wanted to just read mission statement or I'm going off your website, but I thought that was really important, and it really stood out to me. So I'm going to read that information, and then we're going to talk about a few things that are part of their organization. So it says, You Empower of Maryland gives a hand up by identifying areas of genuine need and bridging resources to create solutions that empower our community. We are a multi-program organization that includes food rescue, youth empowerment, and family relief. When you are empowered, you are able to empower others. Together, we can become a stronger community by giving a hand up. That right there is powerful. So I'm going to turn it over to Harry. Harry, could you add to what your organization is doing? And let me just say, some of the things we're going to talk about this evening is the food project, opening of the program in schools, needs in the community, and how you can support this organization, this great organization. If you're not, if you do not see the flyer, I just want to also throw the phone number out. If you want to call in for any questions, it's going to be 404-436-1277. But I'm going to turn it over to the organizers of this great organization just to piggyback and to add to the meat of that mission statement. So, Harry.
Yes.
You can introduce yourself and then your role or why, just information about the organization itself.
Sure. Once again, my name is Harry. My last name is Bennett. I'm a part of You Empower, but I'm a part of a feeder program, which is Makers of a Male Youth Initiative. So I'm actually on the youth side, or the youth empowerment side of this program. As you can see, it's an umbrella, and what I do falls under the umbrella. I think if you want a more in-depth understanding of what You Empower is all about, the other two very beautiful individuals, minus Melvin, would be able to give more of an insight. But as far as what I do is I work with the at-risk youth or young men's ministry. The Filter program started through our church. And it actually started with a vision and a mentorship that was happening at the church. And it became a nucleus that just kept growing. So I could touch more on that. I'd rather touch on that last because there's so many great portions of the program.
That's why I said it sounds just like a Restoring the Village. Everybody always asks me, like, what do you do? And I'm just like, everything. Like, I understand that umbrella. So.
Whatever's necessary. My hat can change.
Whatever's necessary.
As
Yes.
soon as I walk out that door, my hat can change again.
Oh,
so,
absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for all that you're doing in the community and a part of this organization as well. And Melvin, do you have anything to add to the mission or the goals
Well,
that you
I think
have?
I don't want to mess the mission up. The way you read it is exactly how they need to receive it. For the purposes of tonight, we just kind of want to get the word out about the wonderful things that are about to take place down in Southwest Baltimore. It's an embattled area of Baltimore City.
So it's Southwest?
Southwest, right?
Okay.
You know, we unfortunately, with the amount of murders that we had last year, we've become known again as, if not the
Murder capital.
We're definitely in the top 3.
Yes.
And it just so happens that the area that we're going to be functioning in is the murder capital of Baltimore. Southwest Baltimore right now is the most dangerous area of the city. So it's timely, it's fitting that we're able to come together as a functioning group of organizations with like minds and vision for change.
Absolutely. Do you have a building over there, or
Yes, we do. As a matter of fact, we were blessed this year
Awesome.
with help from former City Councilwoman Ricky Spector,
Yes.
to be able to share this space with another organization named I'm Still Standing. And it's
Awesome.
actually the Samuel F.B. Morse Elementary School formerly. And so we're going to function out of that facility down in Southwest Baltimore. It's 424 South Pulaski Street.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yes.
And Christina, do you have anything to add before we go into a question?
Just to add, like Harry said, you know, it is like an umbrella, but the way we kind of have all come together has been, one thing that Councilwoman Ricky Spector says is it's like serendipity, and it really has been, because Melvin and I, we've known each other for a couple years, we've worked on a couple things together. Nicole, who we'll talk about later, who's going to work with the young women, I've known her for a couple years, so the collaboration that's taking place in order for the food project to even, you know, for it to even work is, I mean, nothing more than just kind of all the pieces falling together.
Absolutely. Isn't it a great feeling when it's just like people just clutter and they just want to help? And the question is, how can I help? I think that's one of the best questions I have. And so it's a great feeling that you're getting the assistance you need in that community, in that district. Now, as far as the food project, who would like to discuss that, just to give more information about the
Well, since we don't want to mess it up,
okay.
I can go ahead and
This is
give
the
you-
first time I knew about the You Empower, but then when I saw that, I was like, oh, so I'm really interested in even knowing more about the food project or how we can assist you.
Well, the food project itself, and I'll read straight from the site, it brings culinary skills, job opportunities, sustainable food sources, mentorship, and hope to the youth of Southwest Baltimore. And so the way that we're going about doing that is to collaboratively offer wraparound services for the children. Obviously, from our aspect being the male youth mentoring aspect of things, we know firsthand how difficult it is to meet with the young men once, maybe twice a week, and then when they leave, they go back into their respective environments, and it's like you go 3 steps forward and 2 steps back.
That's the hard part.
The neat thing about the food project is that once the children become a part of the program, then you're automatically connected to all these branches that offer services, and like you said before, you know, whatever is needed. Together with I'm Still Standing, I think we have all the bases covered, and if we don't have all the bases covered, guess what? We have enough people there
to create.
Okay, there's a base, let's cover it. Let's
Yes.
get together and figure it out. And so we have a conglomerate of dreamers and doers, you know, and so that's it's genuine, and we're just so excited about what we're going to be able to accomplish this year. and moving forward.
Awesome. I know Christina, she's just awesome. Like, she would send information or share. So that right there alone allows you to have the support that's needed, the people to see how genuine it is. Without a doubt, I know it's genuine just because of the work. You're consistent, so it's very much appreciated. And so basically in the Southwest Baltimore community or area, is it just for that particular group, the youth in that area, or kind of open citywide?
Yeah, so because we're in a building with I'm Still Standing we're both going to focus in that area just because the need is so great in that area. But we wouldn't turn away somebody.
Okay.
I mean, if you're able to get there and you're able to take part,
Absolutely.
then, I mean, that's where the need is. We're not gonna, and I'm Still Standing, I know from talking to Luana, like, she feels the same exact way.
And I'm still standing. I love when it's an organization I've not heard of because I want to connect.
Yeah, it's a really great organization, and Luana Perkins, I think, she has a great story. You know, she's
Awesome.
got a, really powerful testimony.
Awesome. I saw pictures of the youth on there, so I would love to come visit one day. I love to see, individuals and leaders connecting with the community and meeting them where they are. So you have done that. I try to share the pictures. I haven't really had anyone that I can that are doing, well, that I know of, doing too much in that area. And so it's good to know that I can connect with you all, come out, show the good that's going on, and see how people can help and to donate their time there. And Harry,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to I'm going to just ask you this, just because we're talking about community. What would you say are the greater needs of the community?
Wow. That's a loaded question right there.
It's loaded and there's no right or wrong. So
I'll break it down into 3 points.
see, he's ready though.
Right.
No, it's just something I normally talk about in my circle of friends, or just on a.
Well, see,
Weekly or
that's
bi-weekly
why
basis.
you got that question.
But number one is the absence of fatherhood is a major part. Whether you're male or female, the absence of fatherhood is number one. Number two, the lack of opportunity. So our kids not only are disproportionate in a lot of resources or in a lot of ways, but they also get that start. They get to that start line way later than their counterparts.
Right.
Especially with our failing school systems and the food deserts. And that's my third point. If you don't have the gas to run the car, how do you expect it to go? So
Absolutely.
I honestly believe like this project, this umbrella, it is not only something that would, put the gas in Baltimore, just to see something like this and actually function and work properly.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
this can put a spotlight so the world can understand exactly where we're at. I think the main thing that poses the problem is who cares? Everybody's out for self, but we're not supposed to be out for ourselves. We're supposed to be empowering, or we're supposed to be throwing an arm around our brothers and sisters. And when that's not happening, we tend to get a high murder rate, or we tend to hate each other. We tend to hate ourselves. So, I mean, like I said, that was a loaded question. We could talk for days about that. But,
And look, I can listen for days. Like
Right.
I love absorbing the needs, and one of the things with Restoring the Village, it's more of so building partnerships.
Right.
So I don't want to take the time to try to create something that someone else is doing. And for me, traveling around the city, I find people that are already doing it, and I bring them on as a community partner. If you all are not listed, you need to be listed on our website. But basically, there's nothing attached to it other than your name and link to your organization. That way, when I go out to community meetings, like I'll be going, I always give people cards, and I say, hey, if there's anything you need, we basically have everything covered. And when I say we, I'm talking about the village, I'm talking about the community,
Right.
rather the east, south, west, north. To me, a side doesn't matter to me. An organization having that title doesn't matter to me. So it's like that umbrella as well. And one of the other things is, I had a note about that you're opening programs in the school as well, or is it just for that particular school, or you're trying to do like a mobile? Is it going to other school sites?
No, it's actually
No,
just in that
Just
school
that
for
one?
now.
Okay. So that's good. I don't know. Maybe it's coming.
Right.
we're
And
playing
you know, the good thing about that is
That's great.
we wanted to kind of create that hub in that
Yes,
area.
yes.
You know, because there's so much need in that area, and there's such
Yes.
a lack of resources there.
Yeah, that's why I said I have a list of things, and I rarely get anything from South Baltimore, and I rarely even visit. There is a young man. I'll probably send it over to you, but there is someone doing some great things, and it was like probably that one that I got connected to. But it's all about that building, that partnership, that linking up to one another. I always say that we're all a piece of that puzzle, and put it all together, it's going to be complete. And there are going to be times where you're going to get weary and tired. You're just going to keep going, and there are going to be times where, and this is one of the things I love to do, is show the good that's going on, because we can be so absorbed with the negative. We can be so absorbed with, you turn the news on, it's like 10 minutes, you hear all of breaking news. This person got shot, that person got, the school doesn't have this, da-da-da-da. I mean, yeah, and I'm only being nice with 10 minutes.
Right.
So that's one of the things that having an outlet of online radio, this is fancy, having the online radio show that we can have a positive platform that can go out. So not only is it alive, like we have other features where you can send your YouTube link and just share it. Share that, build on your platform. Everything's listed on our website as well. So that's another aspect to sending out our cards, and so we can say that you all were on that past, show, and to learn more. Some people want to know, will it, are you gonna, are they working? Can they work? They kind of want to see the action first. Sometimes they just want to know. And so a lot of times we try to have that information on the website. So kudos to you all, and I love the fact that it says bridging our community. Let me just tell you why that's important to me. When I first started, before Restoring the Village, because I actually revived and changed the name, but it went from like youth focused to a holistic approach. But the name of my organization was Bridging the Gap.
Oh, wow.
And it's the same thing. And we all know it's needed, but some get frustrated and they fall off. I know that these three here, they're not going to give up and they're not going to get weary because you've shown me that already. And you've shown that you're a team player. So I appreciate that. Let's see. There was another thing I wanted to say before I actually, and let me let you know that I shared it on your page. But I wanted to see, is there any upcoming events with the food project or with your organization? I saw you post a flyer on my page, but I didn't get a chance to look at it. So if that's something that's upcoming, I've shared it on the page, but could you talk about that?
Certainly. So tomorrow we're actually going to
Tomorrow.
tomorrow.
When he got it, I was like, oh my gosh. So I didn't even get a chance to look at it. Sorry about
Well, we
that.
had to wait a little while.
Oh, it's
to
fine.
make sure
That's why I said I didn't get a chance.
But tomorrow we're actually gonna host a workshop. The name of the workshop is Limitless.
Yeah, I love it.
And Limitless is just the next installment in what we're calling our visualization series.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're doing is we're speaking with the young men about the significance of visualization
Mm-hmm.
in their lives, the importance of how they see themselves, how they interact with society, and in turn creating a worldview. So how society sees them.
Absolutely.
And basically, you've heard the cliche. There's no separation between your mind and the environment. Your thoughts become your actions become your character. So with that, we've had, I think, 4 installments so far of the visualization series. Tomorrow, we're focusing on the mental limits, the mental limitations that we set for ourselves. I don't know if you took a look at the flyer, but you'll see.
First of all I saw was "You Are Limitless," and I was like, "Hello."
Well, the picture right in the middle of the flyer kind of explains it all. It's a picture of a donkey. The donkey is attached with a bridle to a plastic porch chair. Okay, that one hoof on that donkey weighs more than that porch chair. However, that donkey has been engineered mentally.
Yes.
That whenever I have this bridle on and it's attached to something, I can't move.
It's just like the elephant, the Ringling Brothers.
Yes.
elephant.
Right. And so we do that to ourselves sometimes as well. So tomorrow, the whole idea is to see if the young men understand, what does it mean to be successful? We want to know what you feel as though it means to be successful. And so once we get an understanding of what is success, then, okay, so what are the limitations that are set by yourself or by others that can keep you from getting there? Okay,
Right.
What's your bridle?
Yes.
Is it what you're wearing? Is it your shoes? Is it the fact that you don't have enough money? Is it where you live? Is it how you're living? What are your mental limitations that are telling yourself that you're inferior and keeping you from moving? Causing fear. So that's what we're gonna go through tomorrow with the young men and try to see if we can bring it out of them, what their limitations are, so that we can help each other to figure out how to get over.
Sorry about that.
I love the idea of even having a platform for them to speak. We can always say what we think they need or what they're missing or what their barriers are, their baggage.
You'd be
But to
surprised.
actually give them the platform, I don't know if you all have seen the Boys to Men seminar we did last month. It was so overwhelming and like awesome. I'm gonna just use that word the whole year. It was so beautiful
I heard.
to see the men. And that's what we did. We kind of organized us ladies, but they need to see the men. And so we put it out maybe with 1 or 2 organizations, turned into maybe 6, and now we have about 10, and now we have more people, and I'm like, wow, we're gonna have a whole day, you know, so we're trying to limit. But what we decided to do to not cut people off is that we're allowing rotation, and we're doing it monthly. So
Right,
the next
one coming up next week, right?
Yeah. So I was gonna say, the way you're speaking, you need to come in there. We got a spot, but well, if you have youth, you know, invite them. It is a citywide Boys to Men seminar, you know, and it's the 27th at Mervo, and it's going to be 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. The principal is so happy.
We
to
actually
be
have
part.
somebody in mind for that.
Okay.
Okay. And the one thing, I didn't mean to cut you
That's
off.
fine. That's fine. He took over the show. So
I didn't mean to take over the show.
I'm kidding.
The one thing I really wanted to say is that image or that stigma of our young men just being violent and uneducated and not having anything to say is so untrue.
Yeah.
And it's just like when you give them that platform, or when you throw that arm around them, or when you just give them an opportunity just to listen to what they have to say. I mean, I can't even explain how much I've learned from children that are 20 years younger than me, 30 years younger than me, just small children to
Right.
some of the leaders that we have in our groups.
Right.
And these young men are powerful. Like if I had to choose, if I brought that young man that I'm thinking of up here right now, he'd took over your show. And
You should have saw the video. You haven't seen. Well, now you're my friend on there, but
I'ma check
I'm
it
gonna
out.
tag you. You have to look at it because I mean, some of the men who came as mentors, they sat there and just went back,
Right.
meaning back to their childhood, meaning the stigma of things that they've heard when they were growing up, and how they want to change the mindset of their own selves to be a better mentor.
Right.
We could say it was one. I'm trying to see whatever the quote was. It was one particular person, and they were just we were talking about everything. We talked about everything from sex to everything, right? And so we got on the subject of sex, and it basically had a young man, one of the mentors, had him think back to what he was taught, growing up, and of course that might be passed down because you think that's the right thing, and so we were talking about having a lot of, they were talking about having a lot of women, having sex and everything, and one of the teenagers was like, yeah, if you're not getting bodies, and we like, first of all, the terminology has changed, and I'm like,
Right.
bodies, hold on, but that's their language, that's what they relate to, that's what they're going through, and that's what we need to talk about. And we were in a room filled with men and women, children, but we did let the men, kind of just take over in a sense of they need to grab the young men. So very exciting if you can make it. If not, we'll pick another one. Absolutely just came to my mind. Because we're doing this citywide, I'm thinking of perhaps, I won't put you on the spotlight for next month, but as we do this tour, we can come to your school.
Yeah.
Because we just need a venue. We have the people, we have the things in place. We want to make sure that we're mobilizing and locating to different areas. That way, it doesn't take them, have a hard time for them to get places.
Right.
So we did East Baltimore, Northeast is Mervo. I believe we have a West right now, and again, we just want to make it as a tour.
Sounds like you need to be in Southwest.
So yes, look, I was like, this is why, right? So you just made a good point. But you made a good point because you spoke on the fathers or the male figures not being in their lives. That is so important, and that's why we came up with that whole Boys and Men, because some of them did not have a father. Or a male role model, or the role models they have are encouraging them to get bodies, to make a living the wrong way. And so we have to be mindful of that. And so once you're in, and then even with mentorship is so important because you have to be fully dedicated.
Yeah.
And you cannot play games because it's like a make or break. And if you can't get that person, and you can commit to them, they've already had people that have already turned their back. Like, don't play games. That's why I tell people all the time. So you made a very important notion of, we know that the absence of the man it plays a really big part. Now, what do you think are some things? Now we know just with the absence, but what are the youth thinking? Some are thinking, I would say one, but some are thinking that they have to be the provider at 12, at whatever age.
Well, that's because some of them actually are.
Yes, I know.
Providers
Yeah,
at
isn't that-
12, and that's one of the things that's great about having these sessions. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's empowering because they have a voice, and they might be in situations where they don't have a voice. They're on autopilot once they come home from school. Granted, they make it to school. They come home and they already know what that night's going to be like, and it doesn't have much to do with what their desires are.
Absolutely.
So if we can take a couple of hours a week to let them be in a safe space, a place where they can take the mask off, they can take the adult pants off and be a child. That helps. That helps them to open up. And the great thing about mentorship, when you first meet a child, in our case, young men, okay, when we first meet young men, they don't want to really be there. Their parents probably brought them there,
Yeah.
and you know what? And the thing is,
Very good point.
they'll hear you, but until those young men actually understand that your heart is in the right place and that their best interest is at your heart, that's when they start to listen. They can hear you, but they're not going to listen.
No, you're right.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I kind of wanted to go back to one of the things that Harry said.
Look at you, Harry.
And so it's we boys, right? All right. So I want to make sure that we express, when you compare as far as the African American community and the interaction of the fathers with their children, we actually perform better than any other race in this nation. And unfortunately, when you look at the television, you look at the movies, you listen to the radio, it gives a complete opposite depiction of our men. And so any household without a father or a great father figure in it is too many. But I want to make sure that we, express that, in comparison, we're doing pretty well. Okay. Now, with that being said, going back to the question you first posed, what are the issues? I think a huge issue is how we are depicted from, like I said, the television to the internet. But then it goes back even further. Okay, it goes back to your education. It goes back to your schooling, and that's just not our particular race. That's across the board, because all of our children in public schools are learning the same information. And in that public information, we're depicted in a certain manner. And so what it does is, as they're growing in that educational system, implicit bias is being instilled into each race. Okay, so by the time they get to middle school, by the time they get to high school, and then further on in their lives, everyone has this same image of what it means to be a father in this community. Okay, so it's not just white people don't like black people. Guess what? Because of the implicit bias, black people don't like black people. Okay, so there's a lot of room to talk about what's wrong. If we want to solve something, then what personally I feel we need to do is peel the layers back, and you're about to be a politician. It took you long enough. We need to go to our politicians, and we need to get together as organizations and demand that, hey, you know what?
Don't come demanding this.
In the right way.
I'm kidding.
Okay, we need to demand that, hey, what's being taught in the school system?
Yeah.
What's being shown on the television? We have what's being played on the radio. Money is the key. Okay, and if we can get together and make an impact financially on the folks that are contributing to this false idea of what it means to be young, black, and male, then we can get some work done. Harry just said we have a lot of dynamic young men full of ideas, full of passion, full of the zeal necessary to go out and change the worldview, to change the narrative of what it means to be young, black, and male. He says at risk. I say so-called at risk. Just be we're yin and yang. We're yin and yang. So it's important that our young men are placed into situations where they can show themselves approved through their actions in the community.
There's one other thing I wanted to touch on with that. You spoke on mentorship, and you're about to be a politician. You're going to be in a position. I'm sorry.
We hope.
We're praying.
What's going to happen?
Oh, it's happening. We
It's
want to
gonna
speak it
happen.
into existence. But you play a major role in leadership, and what happens when that leadership folds? So it's the same with mentorship. Once these children, or once these young men, or once these people come and they get a part of these services and then they fall apart. It's like, why did we ever trust you in the first place?
Yeah.
Or like say for instance with our boys group, if I were to just go ahead and just say, you know what, I quit, never coming back. Why did we trust you in the first place? And that negates all the work. And I feel like we always have to hit the reset button because people forget how much work this is. Like we have so many groups because people forget how much work this is. Instead of coming together as a fist, we're fingers spread all across the city. So I'm glad once again we have a filler program. I'm sorry, an umbrella like this where we can just keep adding and add to it. So that way one day we'll be that fist. You can't beat that fist,
Well, and I think to add what Harry was saying around, with the food project, so we strategically kind of planned some things on different nights to complement each other. And I've seen them work for the last couple of years. And I've actually knew an individual that was in their program before he was, and I ran into him. And when I ran into the boy that was involved in their program, who I won't say his name, but I just saw such change in him that I was, I immediately was like, oh, what are you involved in now? He told me all about, Melvin and Harry, and he was like, he really said something that really stuck with me. And he's like, well, I've changed now. He's like, because like, I love me. He was like, I love me. He was like, because I know that Melvin and Harry love me and my mom loves me. Like, so for those, like, you're up there with mom, know?
Yeah.
And so I knew right away that I wanted, Melvin and Harry and everything to be a part of the food project because, the important thing to me is, and you're on my Facebook, so I talk about it all the time, trauma-informed programming is so important to me. I've worked with a lot of different partners in the city, and when you don't look through kind of the same lens, to be a partner with somebody who works in a completely different way, you just don't mesh.
Yes.
And, and I will say, with everybody that's involved, we all have this incredible passion. And the majority of us, this is our second, like we all work during the day. So this is our second, we do it because we love to do it and because
Absolutely.
we truly believe in it.
And that's why it's going to be successful because you have a passion for it.
Right.
It's not like you're doing it for money. Even with me going into the political realm, that's what I'm going to say. I won't say politics. The political realm, I did not want to dive into it. So taking the initiative for the State Central Committee, I was still able to connect with the community. Well, I'm claiming it. I will still be able to connect with the community. And so with that, I know sometimes y'all see me, I could go off in a nice way, but I don't play when it comes to, our people.
You're a strong advocate.
Yeah. So, and I think people know that. And so I don't want to go to something that's going to change my narrative, and like you just said, like we have to change that. I on my job, I'm probably the only one in the office that lives in a city. So a lot of times they're like, Angie, they're just so enticed with everything. Angie, so what's going on with the school and this and it changed. And it kind of go back to what you just said, changing the mindset of that young man. They changed their mindset. I won't say, a whole 180, but I'll say they changed their mindset because originally it was more like, the crime, the this, the that, all that they saw on the news.
Everything you
If
see.
you don't live in a city, you're just going off of what you see in the news. But that young man changed his life around because someone took the initiative to be there. And so with me, they know with me, I am going to be there. I lost my husband years ago, but that's my drive, you know. And so when I can grab the young people and I can change them, you're not going to change everyone. And I think sometimes people get so frustrated because it could be someone they really, you know, really connected with, and they still made a bad turn. Never could give up on them, but understand that, you know, with that whole therapy session, I take therapy sessions all the time. People probably don't believe me, but I take my therapy sessions. I don't care if it's a weekend or like the last week of December. I took just time for myself. It is important to take to have self-care, and again, just diving back into it, but having the heart for the work. Servant leader is what I always say. You know, you're out there working. So that's why I just brought that up, because it is different when, and you probably didn't even notice you were making that change because you were working, but she saw in a different eyesight, you know. So it's commended for everyone that's playing a part, and I really appreciate one of the things that we do at Mervo. It's kind of my pilot there, my hub, because if I know I could do it at one school, I know that I can keep going. And that's what we're doing now. We're learning that whole, you know, reaching out to other schools, connection, and not to take over the school, but connect to their leaders, their PTA, their PTOs, or their, school family council, whatever. You don't want to go in feeling like you're just scooting out that person that has been working hard, but you want to link up. And that's part of what Restoring the Village is doing, is linking up with individuals. No, we won't always agree. There are challenges, but the great part is yesterday the parade made my heart smile. We pushed hard to make sure that parade stayed. I was on it with others, and I never go to the parade. I'm always working. We're not off at work, but to actually go, I said, if I was gonna make all that noise, I gotta go. But to go, to feel the energy, to love, that right there, that end result is something that is commendable to everyone in Baltimore. And it shows you that it's worth fighting for.
Absolutely. And to take the momentum.
Yeah.
I can't stress enough how important it is to take a hold of the momentum.
Yeah.
We coming into 2018, You Empower, the Food Project, we have so much momentum built up right now. And it's like, I said the other day, okay, let's just ride the wave until we get to the beach. It gets kind of scary. It gets kind of scary when you.
I'm gonna have to write your quotes down.
when you have so many things coming at you, but you know what that tells us, number one, is that, okay, it's taking a hold. People are actually starting to believe that this is possible. And so they're throwing, the resources in terms of the people, our direction. So, this didn't happen overnight. This is years of individuals in their own neck of the hood, doing what they do. And because of that, our president and vice president, Michelle Suazo and Tommy Kukulis, they saw what was going on, and they came out to the different areas, and they grabbed what they felt as though was necessary to put this nucleus together to offer something unique, genuine to that neighborhood, which they were already actually working in. They were actually working, I think, 3 nights a week, providing food at 10 o'clock at night to over 150 children, okay, in the middle of a food desert. Okay, so they're boots on the ground in Southwest Baltimore for years already. Okay, so now you say, okay, well, what else can we do? They need more than food. That food was the binding factor.
Food gets the people,
okay? But not only that, the type of food. Okay, so for instance, we have an urban farming program. Chef Dominic Nell. He has microgreens.
Make sure I come there.
He's part of the group. He's part of the family, and he's been to our group sessions before. He brought his microgreens with us. He taught the children all about what they were, how nutritious they were, how easy it was to do it in your own house. Even if you have a food desert, you can still get those nutrients that you need, you know, right on your desk. Everything you need is right there.
Right.
Okay, you got your chicken box and half and half, but you know what? You also got your radishes, you got your broccolis, you got your asparagus, you got, you know, and it takes a pinch or two. No, I had no idea what a microgreen was.
I know, they're really good.
Okay, and they're really good for you. Okay, and then, you know, in terms of opportunity, you know, I know you mentioned opportunity. It's really hard to walk up to a young man and say, hey, look, you know what? I've been watching what you're doing. You know, I've been down that path. I'm on my way back. Let me just grab you now, because at that fork up there, it's either way is not gonna work for you. But if we go back, you know, and so with this food service that we're this food project that we're venturing into, what it does is it gives us an alternative to offer to the young men. Okay, if you're not going to give them something else to do, then, you know, they're like, man, miss me with it. I mean, what else am I going to do?
Absolutely. Tell you in a heartbeat.
So with this food project, they're getting culinary skills training. Okay, they can take that and get a job. Okay, and we have, I mean, our chefs. We have Greg Nally, Chef Greg Nally.
Chef
Nally
Stu.
Fresh,
Yeah.
Nally Fresh. I don't know if you've been there
Chef
yet.
Stu.
Chef
That's
Robert
what
Stewart.
that's,
you know,
yeah, that's
celebrity
what-
chef Robert
yeah,
Stewart.
no, I
you know.
well then I saw something for like Thanksgiving he
Right.
posted.
Yeah.
Was
Yes.
that, okay, so
Yes.
yeah. All
And
right.
so these guys are getting opportunities
Awesome.
to get training so they can take it out and get jobs. In the meantime, the chefs that we work with, they cater events. These young men get an opportunity to actually work at these events and get a stipend for doing that. Okay, not only that, here at the Food Project over at the Samuel F.B. Morse Center, we'll actually be cooking these meals. These young men will have the opportunity to cook these meals for the community. And so the community will be able to come in there Monday through Thursday, and they'll be able to get breakfast. They'll be able to get dinner, you know, whereas though they would not have any other alternative, you know, or the alternative wouldn't give them what they need.
Right.
And we all know, if we don't know, let me tell you, what you put into your body has a lot to do with what your mind puts out.
Preach.
Okay? And,
Preach.
And that is just the truth, you know. And so, you know, to have an opportunity to get healthy choices, you know,
And just to add real quick,
Go ahead.
on the community dinner, the idea around that was, you know, we were all sitting around talking about how everybody is so disconnected. How you can have somebody
So
on 2 blocks away that's doing something and you're over here and you have no idea.
That's what I
And, you know, so the question you asked Harry about so in my opinion, I mean, if I had to say one of the top 3 would be, we're disconnected. Like the lack
Right.
of community. And that's what I really hope that this hub will be, is a place to connect to the resources that should be available to everyone in the city, not just downtown or Canton or, you know, other areas, that people should be able to access these resources that you need. You know, you need as a family, you need as an adult, you need as a kid, and they're just not there. And with the transportation
honest.
issues in the city, you can feel, it's easy to say you just travel to East Baltimore, but if you don't drive, it takes a couple hours.
Yes.
So it's just not realistic to tell a
Kind of
parent.
discouraging to
Yeah.
have to catch so many buses,
Yeah.
and then they changed the bus line.
Right.
So yeah.
So
it's
with the
definitely
community
discouraging.
dinner, like we just did a dinner for when we did our Christmas party. And to look around that room, I mean, we didn't even announce it, we didn't share a flyer. And to look around the room, you have a completely diverse crowd that would probably never even hang out with each other and sit down and eat with each other. And you have over 100 people that just at word of mouth that day come out to eat because they're hungry,
They're
because they
hungry.
want to connect. Like, and I think people really do want to connect, they just don't know how.
Oh yeah.
I definitely know that food and the fact that you're using that to even instill skills and communication, like that's the key. And it's a key because it's not just Southwest Baltimore that's encountering that food desert. You know, a lot of places I look at, there's one now. Granted, in my area, drivable, I can get to at least 2 close ones. But there was one that was very close to my home, a market, and it's been closed down for years. So part of my drive of wanting to do that, I go to City Hall. I'm down, pounding on the door like, hey, when are we gonna have it? But when you see things are disappearing and people are not speaking up, then they're not gonna make that a priority. So I commend you for not only, and I know I just talked about a market versus what you're doing, but the basics of it is that people are in need of that. But the fact that you're utilizing that with the youth, and again, instilling a skill and allowing them to gain ownership. So they know that they're a part of that. They're a part of that, of putting back into their community.
I'm glad you said ownership.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I just did it.
Ownership.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay,
because of what has been taking place down at UN Power in Southwest Baltimore, our youth were actually gifted a functioning company. It's theirs. It's theirs to run. Everything from marketing and promotion to procurement of the materials and the ingredients to packaging to sales and distribution. These young men will learn how to operate a business, and the business is called CD Nutty. CD Nutty, okay? And it's actually on the Whole Foods shelves right now. All the Whole Foods has this healthy snack choice. Please go and buy CD Nutty because that's coming right from Baltimore City youth. These guys are going to be successful. We will absolutely give you the information, and you can go online and you can purchase the product, and you'll like it, and it's good for you, and you can feel it. Okay.
Also, around the CD Nut, it's an opportunity to, honestly, I'm not in the food industry, so this has even been new to me. This has been an incredible eye-opening experience to learn about branding, how to get something on the shelf in, where any market.
Right.
So for the kids, it's a sense for them to feel proud and for them to, you're able to say, I actually have something, in Fresh Foods, in Wegmans, or something like that.
Yeah, I was that's big.
Right.
That's huge.
That's
it's huge
huge.
that this opportunity, and again, it was because of the work that the children were doing. We can't express enough how much these children and what they're doing in the community it galvanizes the community to come around and support them for what they're doing. Ricky saw what these young men were doing, and she said, you know what, despite of what took place last year, these young men are turning their lives around. This group is here to support them.
An awesome article.
And oh my God, and now look at what she's doing.
Yeah.
That woman, oh my God, that woman. Okay, she has more energy than everybody at this table
She's a firecracker.
combined. I cannot say how much energy she has.
Awesome.
But because of what the young men are doing in the community, that's the reason why this momentum is picking up, and that's the reason why they were even gifted a real company, because that person that gifted the company felt that confident that they would be able to follow through and be successful with it.
Yeah, I looked at that article and I was just like, wow. And I guess that encourages me, but it shows what I'm doing with my own self. She could have very well said this happened to her and turned her back.
Absolutely.
But to actually want to, mentor them and also give back to the entire youth population, that says a lot. And so even with me having a loss of my husband, I could have packed up and left. I could have not wanted to help in my community. I'm running in the same district that my husband was taken away from me. So that to me just encouraged me. And sometimes it gets overwhelming and emotional. And I love to hear that encouraging good news. I always say my Good News Friday because I need to hear it. I need to hear it just like the next person. You never know. When I shared my video, I don't know if y'all saw it or not. When I shared my little documentary, I went back to the site that my husband was murdered. And I say back, I went there for the first time. It's been 15 years. I had never been there. And I went to the site, and when I went there, I needed it for myself, but when I shared it, a lot of people were just like, thank you. because they were going through depression, or they were going, and I mean, not to say that they're just, that was it, but sometimes we just need that, come on, that nudge,
Yeah,
to
do it.
keep going.
Yeah.
So thank you. We're going to be wrapping up soon, but I wanted to just, if you can, how can people support? How can they connect with you all? I know you're ready.
Yes, so, I mean, the best way is to go to our website, which is www.uempowermaryland.org. There's a list of donations on there as far as supplies that we'll need to be able to run the culinary programs. No donation, no little, I don't care how little it is, how big it is. There's also a breakdown on there if there was corporate sponsors, or if there's other people that want to sponsor an actual program. We break it down by student or by program. And then there's also a program, the Roundup program. So that would be for local restaurants in Baltimore. They have the opportunity to give the option to their guests to add 25 cents to their check. And that 25 cents would be then donated to the food project.
Okay.
So if we were able to get 20 restaurants, for an example, 20 restaurants would actually sustain and run run all the programs that we offer. And I'll share with you before we leave, or send to you a list of our calendar, but we have several programs. It's got about 8 or 10 different programs.
Yeah, so
that are
just
gonna be
make sure
running.
that I have that, I don't know if it's on there or not, but make sure that we have that link on our page, and that way
Okay.
people can click on it and just be exposed to everything you're doing. And again, tomorrow,
Okay, so tomorrow we'll be down at the we'll be down Southwest Baltimore at the Samuel F.B. Morris You Empower of Maryland Center. Okay, and that is located at 424 South Pulaski Street. Okay, doors will be open around 5:30. Our program will
Wish I
begin
could've
at 6 o'clock. We'll be there again.
I know.
Okay.
This is how my life is now.
And I would say definitely to go to You Empower of Maryland, the website, uempowerofmaryland.org, and take a look at the programs that we're going to be offering. The schedule of events is on the site, and the good thing about it is, we have something there for everyone. Okay, obviously for the young men, for mentoring, we have Makings of a Man. Okay, for the young ladies, we didn't mention that, but it's not just mentoring for young
We have
men.
to do a part 2.
Sounds great. And then we can bring Nicole.
Yeah.
Okay, Nicole Mosby Taylor, Empowering Minds of Maryland's
I know
Youth,
Nicole.
Yeah.
is on
Right.
our team.
Yeah.
And she'll be providing those same types of services for the young ladies. And it is not just Southwest Baltimore, folks. These groups are coming from all over Baltimore. It's just that's the hub.
Absolutely.
That's the hub.
Yeah. So thank you all for coming on the show. You were my first for the new year. You should feel special.
You do.
This is a great interview. I don't know if you were nervous or not,
You know I was.
but she was in it. You're more than welcome to come on another time to talk about the girls or talk about any events that's coming up. Just let me know things in advance as we're booking up fast. Speaking of booking up fast, I want to just announce next week we will be having Rosie, Lord Jesus. Try to look at my screen and the paper. Next week, we will be having Tori Rose. She'll be coming on the show with her team. They will be doing a fashion show fundraiser at the Downtown Cultural Arts Center February 11th, so she'll be coming on. The event will benefit suicide prevention and awareness, and parts of the proceeds will go to the Baltimore crisis response. And I think it's very much needed with all that's going on. We talk about the 343 homicides we had last. That's a lot. And we do have people that are dealing with suicide and depression. And so if there's something that we can do to help that, that's what we're going to do. So I am bringing her on the show next week. She and her team will be here to talk about ways to get involved and to donate to that good cause. Also, I want to because we're talking about suicide, I want to also announce that Monday, I will be launching the grief support group at Mervo, and I will be facilitating that group with different individuals with their background in behavioral health and also with grief and loss, concentration in that. I am actually a grief facilitator. We were supposed to launch on the 8th, but it was icy, so it would be the launch on Monday. I'm really excited about it. Nothing in particular. I always tell people, you don't have to have all these degrees. People just want to know that you can listen, that you're going to listen to them, and they can talk. Nothing else. We make things so complicated when we're in a crisis. We don't have time for that. So I'm really excited about that. Again, it's Monday, the 22nd. Also Monday, the 22nd at 6. I don't want to say it because I need y'all at the group. But I'm a team player. January the 22nd also at 6 o'clock, and they're both going to be at 6. There will be a town hall meeting, so if anyone's having concerns with the school system, Dr. Santelises will be there and the school board to take any concerns, questions. As our last rally, we went there. It kind of went over, and it was very overwhelming in a good way. A lot of people came out. So I just wanted to let you know those 2 events. I will announce all of this on my page, but this last... Oh, yeah, Dunbar. And the last thing before closing, I want to, first of all, just say thank you, everyone, for sharing it. I'm looking at, some views that we're getting. I wanted to also say, with all the work that we do, all of the work and from here to there, right now I'm going to a community meeting. I had a job, my job, my 9 to 5, doing a show, having a baby, I'm all over, and I'm sure that you all are all over. But when we talked about self-care, so I want to announce that this Saturday, if you're not busy or if you have your youth to bring in, we are doing a community game night. We just want people to have fun, enjoy life, enjoy themselves. It's going to be at the Langston Hughes Center over on Nelson. The information will be on there, but it's a citywide. We just want to show that good old-fashioned feel. We're going to have the old candy. People are going to be playing jacks, basketball. We have police department, fire department, different organs. Oh, yeah, we already had it. You got to see the video.
I did.
So, yeah. So we're going to have everything, jump rope, whatever you want to do, karaoke, and the game will be on.
So no excuses.
Yeah.
Right. You can't miss it.
The game will be
exactly.
on, but what we're going to do is we're going to have a room with a big screen, and the guys can come in. There's no excuse. Still bring your family. So please, game night, January 20th at 4 o'clock. I will share all this information. And again, thank you all for tuning in to our show. Have a good one, and I'll see you all next Tuesday. All right.
Phew.